Hello, everybody. I'm Parsha Becky, and I am back to wish you a Chag Sameach. Now, as you know, when we have a holiday fall on Shabbat, we don't read a Parsha because we read a Torah reading connected to that holiday. And this Shabbat is Shmini Atzeret, so Chag Sameach. But wait, this Sunday, or also on Saturday in Israel, is going to be Simchat Torah. And the special Torah reading that we read on Simchat Torah is the Parsha of VeZot HaBerachah, which is the last Parsha in the Torah. It's actually the one that we've gotten up to in our regularly scheduled Parsha readings. And here's a fun fact about VeZot HaBerachah. It's the only Parsha that is never read on a regular Shabbat. The only time we publicly read VeZot HaBerachah is for Simchat Torah. And with Simchat Torah falling on the weekend, this is the closest we're ever going to get to having it as our Shabbat Parsha reading. So let's talk about VeZot HaBerachah. We are in the fifth and final book of the Torah, the book of Devarim. The whole book of Devarim has been speeches of things that Hashem wants Moshe to tell us before we're ready to go into Israel. For the whole book of Devarim, Moshe has been speaking on behalf of God. But now, for VeZot HaBerachah, it's time for Moshe to have his own turn and say what he wants, not from Hashem, but directly from him, Moshe. VeZot HaBerachah, of course, means this is the bracha. What's the bracha? It's the bracha that Moshe gives to the Jewish people on his own, not from Hashem, but from himself. And the parsha starts with the bracha that Moshe gives. He addresses first the whole Jewish people, saying how Hashem is really amazing and we're really cool. And you know what? Hashem gave us an incredible gift. It's called the Torah, and the Torah is so wonderful. We are so fortunate to have the Torah to guide us, to learn from. And then Moshe addresses each individual shevet, each tribe of the 12 tribes of Israel, and gives an individual bracha to each shevet. He says for each shevet something that's special about them, something he likes about them, something that they're especially good at, something he hopes for them in the future. Each tribe gets their own special positive bracha. And then Moshe comes together at the end again, addressing the whole Jewish people and saying how there's no one like Hashem, there's nothing like Hashem, and we are so special because we have this special relationship with Hashem, and we are so fortunate to have Hashem looking out for us and protecting us and thinking about us. And Moshe finishes his bracha, and now Moshe climbs up to the top of the mountain, Har Nevo, the mountain named Nevo, which Hashem told him to climb at the end of our previous parsha. And from the top of Har Nevo, Moshe can see the entire land of Israel, and it is such a beautiful view. He really gets to drink it all in and see the whole land of Israel. And at this point in time, Moshe reaches the end of his life, and Moshe passes away at 120 years old, which is a nice ripe old age. It's sad, but it's a long life. We sometimes wish each other, may you live to be 120, which is Moshe's age at the end of his life. And even though as people get older, their bodies get weaker, it's harder to stand up straight, it's harder to see. Moshe, even at 120, he was just as strong as he was decades earlier. He was able to sit up straight and tall. He didn't even need glasses. He had better eyesight than I do. And Moshe passes away, and Hashem buries Moshe in a valley somewhere in that area near that mountain. There were no people around, so to this day, nobody knows exactly where Moshe was buried. Nobody will ever know. And now the Jewish people are ready to go into Israel, but before they go, they stay where they are for 30 days to mourn for Moshe and think about Moshe and talk about how special Moshe was and what a wonderful leader Moshe was for them. So for 30 days, they stay there to think about Moshe, and then they're ready to move forward. And now Yehoshua, who was Moshe's assistant, is now going to be the leader who will lead the Jewish people into Israel, which we will read all about in the book of Yehoshua, which comes right after the Torah. We read the very beginning of Yehoshua also on Simchat Torah, and we have now finished reading the book of Devarim. We have finished reading the entire Torah. And there's something that we say whenever we finish reading a book of Torah. We say, Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazak. Learning Torah makes us stronger, and we're going to make ourselves even stronger by learning even more Torah. Because, of course, on Simchat Torah, as soon as we finish reading the Torah, the end of the Torah in Devarim, we start up again from the beginning of Bereshit. And we're going to hear about the first Parsha in Torah. We're going to keep going with the beginning of the book again next week from Parshat Bereshit. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.